Hello. I had an encounter at the TIP Annual Fathers Conference that is titled that.
Right Reverend Dr. Faith Emmanuel Benson Itahosa II, popularly known as Bishop Fair, is a prominent minister of the gospel.
Good evening, fathers of the universe. Permit me to call you that name. Good evening and welcome to today's session. Wow, the Fathers Conference 2024, run by the Intentional Parenting. All thumbs up to the amazing coach, the wonder coach, the firebrand coach, my sister, Coach Wendy Ologe. Thank you for bringing fathers together consistently for the past 4 years, I think. Being opportune to be on this platform, and I have also learned from this platform. Thank you for doing this for fathers. So when you see mothers stepping out to ensure that fathers are in place, then trust the home will always be in place. So thank you, Coach Wendy. Thank you, all the team behind. Today, day 2 of the Fathers Conference 2024 of the International Parenting. We have an amazing speaker who will be coming up shortly. But my name is Trinity J, or Coach TJ. I'm your digital parenting coach, and I will be moderating this session today. So, for those of you watching from wherever you're watching, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's session. Like we do, we bring the fire into the room. So those yadas who are watching, your husband's not here, share the link with them. Tell them that fathers are about to take it a level higher. So just also, you could go to the chats on YouTube and just let us know where you're calling from. I see American Fitness from Ibadan. That is so amazing. America in Ibadan. Just let us know where you're joining in from. And we'll acknowledge, thank you so much, Agro Michael, Richard, Ukewe, Oluwa, Shegun, Dairo, Julius, Bayo, Ademola. Thank you so much. Living Right with Chris. Awesome. It's great to see you all getting on board. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Get water around you because you may need to cool down as the session goes. Trust when the Ologe is on board, there is fire always in the room. Thank you, Matthew Gali from Abuja. Thank you, Lushegun Dairo from Ikorodu, Lagos. Amen from Ogun. Thank you, thank you. And we have someone from Kano, Nathaniel from Kano. Awesome, awesome. And Architect Prince from Edo State. Oh, you're my neighbor here, Architect Prince. We have Bukum from USA. Learn from England. Kushia from Jos. Awesome, awesome. I can see it coming. Frank from Bayelsa and Gigi from Lagos. Please, Benin should win this because the man speaking is a man who has fire also in his bones from Benin. So Benin, please win this on the chat. Once again, welcome, welcome, and welcome, welcome. Thank you again, Coach Wendy. Thank you for all you do. We'll be running straight into today's session. There's no time to waste. Please, like I said, sit down, get a glass of water, get your pen ready to write, open your heart, open your mind to receive, for something amazing is going to drop soon. Shortly, we'll have the bio of our guest play, and he's no other person than Bishop Feb Idahosa. Now, many of you know him as Feb, but some of you will be shocked to find out today that Feb actually means three. Feb is actually 3 in one name, so you're going to know that today, and you have the opportunity to learn and ask him questions. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, can we please have the bio of our guest today play?
Right Reverend Dr. Faith Emmanuel Benson Idahosa II, popularly known as Bishop Feb, is a prominent minister of the gospel, professional educator, and a reputable entrepreneur. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Biology and a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration from Oral Roberts University, Tulsa, Oklahoma, USA. He also has a master's degree in public health and a doctoral degree in educational leadership from Oral Roberts University, Tulsa, Oklahoma, USA. Bishop Dr. Feb Idahosa has been the president of Benson Idahosa University since April 15, 1998, and his active work and hands-on experience in the educational sector spans over 20 years. He is the proprietor of Nathan American Academy, proprietor of the Benson Idahosa School of Basic and Applied Studies, the vice president of All Nations for Christ Bible Institute International, and a member of the Board of Trustees for Oral Roberts University. Outside of the field of education, he sits on the board of Pathfinders Justice Initiative and the board of International Communion of Charismatic Churches, and is a member of the Edo National Association, USA. He is the president of Big Ben's Children's Hospital, vice president of Faith Mediplex Group of Hospitals, vice president of the Archbishop Benson Idahosa Foundation, and Idahosa World Outreach. As an entrepreneur and businessman, Bishop Feb is the chairman of the Above Only Group, Care Systems Development Company, DFI Nigeria, DFI USA, Rejuvenate Media, and Benson Idahosa Property Development Company. These reputable establishments thrive in their expertise areas, providing services within and outside Nigeria. As a minister of the gospel, he is the overseer of Church of God Mission International, CGMI, and is the bishop of the Global Headquarters Church of the Ministry, faith arena, and he leads the global bishopric of the church. He is a member of the CGMI Council of Bishops, as well as its board of administration. In all these responsibilities, Bishop Ferb functions in excellence and godly professionalism. He is an inspirational leader who is dedicated to people development and societal transformation. He is a sought-after speaker for church events, leadership and inspirational conferences, and business entrepreneurial seminars. He combines a mix of humility, vision, and innovation to groom and empower the next generation of leaders in ministry, family, business, career.
Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not busy, if your heart is happy, please help me make welcome my big brother, my mentor, my coach, and so many more. Like described in the bio, a very humble
Bio was too long.
bishop.
The bio was too long.
Bishop
I was
Ferb.
getting tired.
But that was you. That was you. It shows that you are an exceptional father. The bio did not even talk about your boys. Didn't talk about your children. So we did not
That's
finish.
what
We had to
just talked
stop
about,
here
the boys.
so that the
Right,
bio would not
exactly.
be the session.
I'm
Bishop,
so
you're
sorry.
welcome, sir.
I'll get a short one.
You're welcome on board. Today
Thank you.
we'll be having Bishop Ferb share with us on the topic in his footstep, tracing the legacy of fatherhood through generations. Ladies and gentlemen, with all the fire in the, and yeah, I can see the fire emojis in the chat, please, I yield the floor to you, Bishop Ferb, and I have water here just in case it gets too hot.
Wow. Thank you so much, Coach Chuno. I appreciate you. It's good to see you again. Always a pleasure to see you and connect with you. I've known you now for 20, 30 years, so good to see you again. All right, so I'm just to share right away, or are we going to ask questions? What's the format that works best for us?
So, Bishop, we know that you're the bishop. Before
No,
we
I'm
get
Dr.
into
Fat
asking
today.
you, before we get to asking you questions, the floor is
Yes,
yours
sir.
to just share from your heart until all the fireballs start to drop on our heads. Then we can ask you questions.
All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the nice introduction. I'm very humbled. Thank you also to Coach Wendy. It's a pleasure to share on her platform. So it's an honor for me to really be here. So thank you for that. I met Coach Wendy through you, Coach Chunu, and that it's been a pleasure to connect with her, connect with her husband, connect with her family. It's just been good to see people who think in the same way, share thoughts that want to help another generation. I think that's where I want to start from, is that we want to make sure we help another generation. And so, Coach Wendy, thank you so much. Thanks to helping us be intentional parents. I love that phrase, intentional parenting, because the truth is, for many of us who are in our generation, we really experienced, to be honest, accidental parenting. Our parents sort of parented us kind of like that, and then somehow, with God's grace, we just turned out to be the way we were. I'm sure many of you can attest to that. And so, having seen that, and what I find in our generation is that you'll find many parents who say, you know what, I don't want to be the way my father was, or I want to be the way my father was, or I want to be the way my mother was, or I don't want to be the way my mother was. But you will find that many of their parents did not train them how to be parents. So it's now, this generation is very pivotal, because now we have a choice to say, look, we are going to be parents by intention versus just what happened with my father, what happened with my mother. And then it could either be good or bad. And what happens then is those things shape us a whole lot more than we realize. But anyway, thank you. So I want to just share, I'm going to share 3 thoughts today. I like to do things in 3s, 2s, and 1s. So I want to just share 3 thoughts. And the idea from those 3 thoughts is I'll give about 1 or 2 illustrations. So it's like 3 thoughts, 2 illustrations. Hopefully I'll put them in there somewhere. And then 1 conclusion. All right. So stick with me. And then at the end of the discussion, I have a PDF which I'll share with you. So if you don't mind, you share that with all of our friends that are watching as well too. I thought I would have it on time to do a screen share, but I'm using a device that I can't really screen share on. So I'll share the slides with you, and then you can please share them with us. Okay. All right. So for the next maybe 30 minutes, I want to share 3 thoughts that I believe will help us as parents. And because the truth is, I love the topic, which is about fathering or being a parenting through generations. Now, me, I'm a father. I have 3 boys. I'm so blessed to have 3 boys. I'm married to a wonderful woman, Reverend Lori Idahosa. I'm blessed that she's in my life, and she's given me these 3 wonderful boys. So what I want to share today is just these 3 thoughts. And what I'll be sharing with the 3 thoughts is that basically every father has a chance to be intentional about the next generation. Every mother has a chance to be intentional about the next generation. And I'll share the thoughts with you. So here's my first thought, okay? Because I was talking to Coach Wendy earlier on, and she was talking about how it's important for us as parents and fathers especially to remember that we need to seek knowledge. And it's also important for us to remember that we need to be a support parent and not just not a guest parent, not someone who just shows up somehow. Be a part of raising your children. So Father's Day is tomorrow, and so I find it quite interesting that with tomorrow being Father's Day, here's some thoughts I want to share with you that helped me as a father, and I hope they will help you too as a father, as a parent, whoever's watching. But yes, it's very important to seek knowledge as a parent, okay? Seek the knowledge as a parent, seek knowledge as a father, because it's that knowledge that will help you. And that's why the Academy with Coach, I think, is such a blessing. So if anyone can join that, please join. Tell your friends to join, because the knowledge you will gain is one that will never leave you, okay? It's worth every penny. So here are my thoughts. Let me begin with a story, okay? I'll begin with the story of the day that I think the first time I was hit by a train. Okay, all right. The first time I was hit by a train is not a literal train, but it felt like a literal train. I was in the UK, in London. I was in medical school, and while I was in class one day, I got a message. I got a page. You know, those days we used to have pages. You don't have pages now. Everybody has a cell phone now, but I got a page. And if you know what a pager is, it's a little message that comes to you on a small machine that you put on the side like this. Okay, you get a little message that says, it said call home. Okay, call home. For me, home back then was back in Brentwood, where I was living. So after class, I let me just go. I finished the class. I went to a phone and I called Bishop Michael Reed. Now, Bishop Michael Reed was my was my sort of guardian when I was living in the UK, and I called him. And he said, Feb, you need to come home right away. And I said, what do you mean? I mean, I got class the rest of the day. He said, come home right away and talk to you. So I said, okay, come to your house? He said, yes. Okay. I thought I was going to go to my apartment. I said, come to his house. So I got on the train. I left class, got on the train. Took me about an hour to get home. I got home, put my things down, went to his house. And I got to his house and he said, sit down. I said, well, sit down for what? He said, I want to tell you something. Sit down. I said, I'm fine. Don't worry. Sit down. I'm okay. Just talk to me. He said, sit down. I said, it's okay. Talk to me. I'm a big man. And he said, okay. He said, this afternoon, your father died. That was the train that hit me, okay? And nobody had to tell me to sit down. I looked for a chair myself, and I sat down. And he said, yes. He said, sorry, it's a sad news, but this afternoon, your father just passed away. And I said, you're joking, right? As if anybody would joke about that. And he said, no, it was not joking. It's the truth. And my head began to spin. And you know how it is. You know, like in the cartoons, when your head like turns around, then smoke comes from your ears, and then you see little birds going around your head. That was me. I saw the birds. I saw the smoke. I saw everything. The reason why it was like that was because my father was just with us in the UK. He just passed through the UK 2 weeks earlier. And my sister took a picture with him, but I didn't take a picture. So I took the picture of him and my sister. And then we traveled to the US. And my whole world seemed like it was about to end. And it didn't make any sense that my father, who I thought was bigger than life, would never, ever die, like that, was gone. And I kept thinking different thoughts. My biggest thought was, what happens to us now as his children. And I didn't cry until I remember my sister lived about an hour and a half away. And I thought, what am I going to tell my sister? And as soon as I thought that thought, the tears began to flow. Not like pretty tears, but ugly tears. Yeah. Anyway, don't worry about that. The tears began to flow. And I remember thinking, okay, what happens to us now? Because our whole family, our whole life, our church, everything just seemed to be centered around my father. And I'm saying that story to tell you this, that your children, as a parent, but you as a father especially, your children's lives really center around you more than you realize, okay? So I'm going to give you 3 thoughts that I believe will help you, because I remember those things stayed in my mind, that image stayed in my mind, and it kept me thinking, what do we do next? How do we proceed? What's the thing that's going to happen next? And I didn't really know how to go on because I was thinking what happens next. But I want to give you some thoughts that I believe will help you. I'll give you 3 thoughts. Okay, so the first thoughts that came as I began to grow over the next couple of years to where when I turned 30, that was 25 when my father passed away. 5 years later, I turned 30 and I got married, and my first son was born when I was another 5 years later. And some thoughts that helped me in my journey through fatherhood that reminded me that I got from my father and thinking. So these are 3 thoughts I want fathers to remember, okay? The first thought is this, okay? Number 1 is this: presence beats perfection, all right? Presence beats perfection. That's number 1. The thought about that is this: many people who are fathers, if you're a father for the first time, you're a young father, you're thinking, how am I going to be a father? I don't know what to do. And I remember being a father for the first time as well, too, thinking, oh, wow, I wish my father could see me now. I was longing for his presence. And I'll share all these things. You'll see a thread flowing through the whole discussion. I was longing for his presence. I wish he was there just to see me be a father. And I thought, okay, I don't know how to be a father. So that's why we say here, please get knowledge. But the first, as I was growing in my fatherhood, my first son is born, my second son is born, I have 3 sons now. And I'm remembering thinking this, okay, it's the presence of your father being there that's important. It doesn't have to be perfection. You don't have to be perfect father, but you do need to be present, okay? As a father, it's good that you're present. You say, well, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. Just be present. Your children will remember your presence more than they will remember the things you said, okay? So remember your presence, remember you were there or you were not there, okay? So you don't have to be a perfect father, but your presence will beat perfection, okay? Here's what happens. So I'm looking back now, and I have memories of my father. My 2 biggest memories of my father: one day my father came to the kitchen, okay? And he cooked. I remember he cooked vegetable eggs. I don't know what that is, but I just know he cooked vegetable eggs. It's still clear in my mind. My father's been dead now for 26 years, and I was a child when he made that food. Maybe I was 6 or 7 years old, okay? But that's a memory I remember about my father. He came to the kitchen and he cooked vegetable eggs for us as children. So we sat down, he went to the stove, and we're all shocked. Hey, Daddy can cook, wow, okay. He cooked eggs with some kind of leaf sauce, something like that. We just call them vegetable eggs. I still remember that, okay? Now, that's my first one. That's one memory I have about my father. I have many of them, but the strongest ones, my father cooking. And another memory I have is my father loved boxing, okay? He loved boxing. He loved Muhammad Ali. He met Muhammad Ali a couple of times. I love boxing. And I remember there was a fight in which Muhammad Ali lost, I think for the first time or second time, to Leon Holmes. I think that's his name, yeah. Larry Holmes, okay? And he brought that tape back, and we watched boxing together. Now, my father was a preacher. He's a great, prolific man of God. He's done crusades, did many things. I remember some crusades with him. I remember we went to a crusade in Ibadan one time together. But the biggest memories in my mind are him cooking and him watching boxing. Now, we watched it maybe once, watched it once or twice with him. But when he left the house, I'll take the VHS tape. Many of you don't know what VHS tape is now. I'll take the VHS tape and I would watch it over and over and over again, just watching it because it reminded me of my father. I watched that tape so much that one day the tape broke, it scattered, and anyway, now in those days we find some tape to tape back the parts of the tape together and watch it again. But anyway, that's for a different generation. My point is, your presence will beat the perfection of you being there, or of you being a perfect parent. Just be present, because here's the thing. I tell parents, okay? I tell mostly fathers, you cannot pick the memories which your children will choose of you, but you can make memories. So make as many memories as possible with your children, okay? Here's why that's important. It's important because you can't choose which ones to remember. My sisters have different memories of my father than I do. We all have different things that we remember, but we have things we remember. So I say, oh, do you remember when this happened? No. They'll tell me, do I remember when that happened? No, but we all remember different things. So my thought is, your presence, okay, is better than perfection. Just be there, because they'll remember that more than what you say, more than what you do, even just remember you were present, or they will remember you were not present. So please be present, okay? That's the first one. Because you can't pick what memories they'll choose. So make sure you just make as many as possible so that you can pick one when you're not there, okay? So your presence will beat perfection. Now, I remember that now. So with my children, I'm very intentional now. And so I'm with my sons and I'm thinking, come, let me teach you how to cook. Let me teach you this. When they want to play football, I'm tired, let's go and play, no problem. They want to play a video game in which they will trash me, they will defeat me, no problem. I will play with them. I will tell them, don't worry. I'll say, don't worry, I will trash you, I'll beat you. They love this game, Fortnite. Many of you know Fortnite. They love Fortnite. They have different things they do. My son, one of my sons love to play NBA on PS5. He has beaten me at least 50 times to, I've beaten him once. But I reminded with that one time I beat him because I wanted to create a memory. Okay, I don't have to be better than them. They can beat me. It's okay, but they will remember something. All right. So each of my sons, I do things with them to make sure that they remember something. So just in March, a couple months ago, I said I want to teach my sons how to cook baked ziti. So I went and got a recipe online. I have a video I'm going to post very soon. Very soon I'll post it. And I taught them how to make this particular dish. Okay, I learned it and I taught them. Now, hopefully, when I'm not here, there'll be some memory that they'll remember. But the point is that your presence, okay, will always beat perfection. That's number one. Number two, the second one is, the second point is this. Mirroring is the real mentoring, all right? Mirroring is the real mentoring. We talk about how do I be a mentor to my kids? How do I be someone that they can follow and look up to? How do I become a role model? And the truth is, they're watching you all the time. So I'll tell you two stories, all right? The first story I heard from this preacher called Craig Rochelle, and he says that he remembers his father, okay, used to do this funky dance. And he would do this funky dance, okay? And he used to love it as a kid until one day when he was like, Dad, stop doing that dance. Because that father could not dance well, okay? But remember the dance. And so he says, okay, when his kids started growing up, he would take them to a restaurant and music would come on in the speakers or whatever in the restaurant. They would hear music. And he would start to say, when I hear music, I like to dance like this, do some kind of crazy dance too. And the children, when they were young, 2 years old, 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years, they used to love the dad, hey, daddy. Then they became teenagers and they said, Dad, come, you're embarrassing us, stop it, please. And you think, okay, they don't like it. And he said he was in a restaurant with one of his children, and he has a 6-year-old grandson. And he saw his son, saw his son in the restaurant. And his son said, look what happens when music comes on. And his son was doing some kind of funky dance as well. And his grandson was like, hey, look at my daddy. The point is that your example is the biggest thing that your children will see. That's the example. They look at you, they'll see the example. And that's what they're going to remember, okay? So the real mentoring is not that you have to be a great mentor, a great role model. You should be all of those things, but the truth is they watch you. Someone said that children are sponges, okay? And they will soak in what you see. There are mirrors. They will look at you, and what you are doing is their mirror. And you will see that they will try many times to repeat this when they grow up. So I just told you about how I cook for my sons, okay? I saw my father cook for me. That memory stuck in my head. Here I am now, 26 years later. I'm trying to create a memory for my son by cooking with him as well, too. I'm thinking, okay, so see, it's that mirror that no matter how imperfect that mirror was, no matter how small the mirror was, I saw it and I'm mirroring that. That's the real mentoring. I want to encourage you as parents, especially as fathers, okay? You need to make sure that the things you do are part of, you need to remember that the things you do are a part of your son and your daughter growing up. They're going to watch you. They're going to soak in like a sponge what you do, because that's the real mentoring. Mirroring is the real mentoring. That's how children become parents. They see you. Now, if you're not there, or if they see you as a father, okay, raise your hand to beat your wife, to do those kind of things. That is a mirror. You will probably see, of course, Coach Wendy talks about this all the time. You will see how children will repeat patterns, because mirroring is the real mentoring. Children repeat patterns, okay? So I want to encourage you, try to create the right patterns for them to follow. Try to create the right thing that they will follow and become, okay? So remember that mirroring is the real mentoring. Because it's what young men see, what young women see, that they tend to repeat. So patterns, you wonder how do patterns get created? If you see a brand new stack of notes, dollar bills or naira notes, you see that there's a pattern. It goes from 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, all the way to the end up to 100, or whatever number that is. And the money, the currency just kind of flows from one to the next, the next, to the next, to the next. It's important because in order for that pattern to break, you have to be intentional about putting a different note inside there. So if I pick a bunch of 1,000 naira notes or 500 naira notes, you see the same color just flows through. But for that pattern to break, I have to intentionally put in something different to make it break, to change the pattern. The same thing again. So if you see that, you see patterns are in families where they say, well, in our family, we never do this, or in our family, we see this happen. In our family, we see that happen. For patterns to break, you have to be intentional about stepping in and changing a pattern. Now, I'm saying that to you so that way, the mentoring that you bring to your children, when you are intentional about that, you will see the pattern will break and it can become something different, become something better, okay? The things you do, thank you for sharing that. Yes, the things you do become a part of your children, become part of their future, become a part of their life, okay? So that's my second point. I thought I have 3 points, 2 illustrations. I've just given you 2 illustrations. And the third point is this. The third point is clear, constant, compassionate communication. I know it's very long, so let's make it 3, okay? Let's make it constant, compassionate communication. It's very simple. It means this. It means just communicate. Bad communication is better than no communication, okay? Mediocre communication is still better than no communication, better than zero communication. I encourage parents and especially fathers, okay, to do your best to communicate. Just speak, just share. I learned this one a long time ago. They said when communication is missing or communication is broken, when there's no communication, mistrust grows. So when I don't hear from someone I'm looking to hear from, say, what's going on? I wonder, why aren't you there? Mistrust grows. Mistrust grows when there's no communication. But if I just communicate, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, no problem. I tell my wife, this is what I'm doing. She's clear, she moves. I tell my sons, oh, I'm thinking this. It makes sense. Here's the thing, okay? I learned this one too from from Andy Stanley. He says, every son has a father that they're trying to please. And he told a story about how no matter he said no matter he got so big in his ministry, was doing so many things, so many great things, but he's always saying there was something inside of him. Ah, he was saying something, there's something inside of him that was thinking, am I doing enough? Have I done enough? And he says his wife had to like slap him, tell him, come, you're doing a great job, doing many good things. Because every son has a father they're trying to please. If you watch your son, I watch my son play football sometimes, and he'll go to a game and he'll play his best. And if he doesn't score, say, oh, Dad, I'm sorry, I disappointed you, I didn't score. I'm saying it's not about scoring. It's about playing and doing your best. But it's not because he's saying he wanted to score. It's just because he's saying, look, I want to make sure I make you happy. So compassionate communication. And say, you know what, son, I will always be proud of you. Whether you score or not score, it's not about scoring. Because the people in the back, the goalkeeper will never score, will rarely ever score a goal. And his father's proud of him. The guy that plays defense will probably never score a goal. His father's proud of him. You know what? I'm proud of you too, okay? It's compassionate communication that I care about you. So I'm thinking what you're thinking. I'm feeling what you're feeling. And because every son has a father that they're trying to please, you will see this with every son, whether you are 20 years old, 40 years old, when you are 50, when you are 60, when you are 70 years old, you'll still be thinking about, if my father be proud of me. So I want to encourage you as a father, tell your sons that you're proud of them. Every time chance you get. If they make a mistake, tell them it's okay. I love you. Let's fix it. Stand there with them. Help them fix the mistake. But communicate clearly, okay? So communicate, constant, compassionate communication. This is important for communicating with your children, communicating with your spouse. Your children need to see you communicate with your spouse respectfully, clearly. They see that, they'll mirror it. They'll want to do the same thing as well too. So those are my 3 points. It's very important because you need to communicate with respect, communicate with compassion, communicate clearly. This will help your children see you. They will copy. They will try to do it because mirroring is the real mentoring, okay? And also, like I said with the first point, that you need to remember that presence beats perfection. Those are my 3 points. And so with all those 3 points, that's why I have 3 points, 2 illustrations, and 1 conclusion. Conclusion is this: you are the best parent that your children will ever have. And I say, well, I'm not the best parent. Well, that's left for other people to think about. But you have to make sure you decide you are the best parent. So if you make that's your goal, make that your determination. I am going to be the best parent my children will ever have. Okay? And you're sure of that. So it means you're not perfect, but you're going to be the best. You're going to work at communicating. Okay? You're going to work at communicating compassionately. You're going to work at communicating respectfully. You're going to work at communicating constantly because they will always be asking for your communication. Okay? If you do that, you do the second point of realizing that your mentoring comes best by the example you create. Okay? Mirroring is the best mentoring. Okay? So your example that you create is the best mentoring. So you do that. When you make a determination, I'm going to be a parent who will mentor, who will make sure I let them see me. That becomes that's what helps you become the best. That's how become the best parent you can be. Okay? And finally, just work on being present. Your presence beats perfection. If you do these 3 things, okay, you will indeed turn yourself into the best parents your children will ever have. So it's not a matter of saying, no. It's a matter of what you do, okay? You can turn your children into the best. You can turn yourself into the best parents your children will ever have. You can be the best father your children will ever have. They'll remember you years after you're gone. But it's important to remember all these points that you can be the best parents your children will ever have once you determine that yourself. All right? Those are my 25 minutes. Is that right, Coach Chunu? I said 30 minutes. That's been, so that, yeah, I have 20, that's 25 minutes. So Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Thanks for letting me share. Thank you, Coach Wendy, for letting me share. I've enjoyed this, and it's good to see you guys. Hope you remember those points. I'll do my best to send the PDF to you so that way you can share the PDF freely with everyone. Okay, freely I've received, freely I'm giving. Appreciate you guys. I didn't preach. I just talked from my heart.
Wow, wow, wow. Bishop Feb, I was about ordering for like 3 buckets of water because my head has been almost going in flames. Listen to how you succinctly, but yet clearly as well, communicated compassionately the points that you dropped here today. Thank you. Please, if this session, if you have felt the compassion, clear communication of Bishop Feb, please go to the chat. Yes, you were so compassionate the way you were sharing, and it was very clear. Thank you, Sylvester Ogaji. Please go to the chat, and I want to see the chats come up with flames. Let me see you say thank you. Let me see you just express yourself, probably in 1, 2, 3 words. Have the session. It was very short, but it was very on point. Thank you, Bishop Feb. Thank you. Wow, somebody says, thank you, Bishop Feb, for this insightful and inspired teaching, and blessed to be a part of this conference. Hands yellow, heart red, hands yellow, heart red, hands yellow, heart red, whatever that means. Thank you, Bishop Feb.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you. You know, when you were speaking, it just dawned on me, and the question I was asking myself was this, and I'm asking every parent this same question. What will your child remember most of you? What will your child remember most of you? Will they remember you? Thank God for Coach Wendy that took the no yelling challenge. Will they remember you as the parents that yelled the most? You know, there was there was something that was shared about that came up from what children said in school, and I think what was topping the list talked about how dad and mom, they're always quarreling and shouting. And thank God for the intentional parenting here that teach you how that shouldn't be what you mirror. So thank you for reminding us, Bishop Feb, that you know our presence beats perfection, and then we need to mirror rightly while communicating clearly. Thank you so much. I would want to open the floor while the conversation goes on. If you have any question, if you also need to fall under the anointing of parenting as a father, this is the time to put your questions in the chat group, and I'll read them out so that we can engage with Bishop Feb. But Bishop Feb, before the questions come up, I would want to, yes, we have Iana just saying, wow, this is really amazing. Thank you so much, Bishop Feb. This is indeed a heart talk. Yes, and saying that it's a heart talk, you know, you dropped it so simple that it will make every father listening here go back and rethink fatherhood. So thank you so much again, Bishop Feb. So I want to ask you, I just listened to you, you know, growing up as the son of Archbishop Benson Idahosa, the man of faith, the man with fire in his bones, the man who was everywhere. Archbishop was everywhere. He was in all churches. He had the greatest crusades in Nigeria, and you were this son of this man who was everywhere. Yet the man had time to cook. You know, just like you said, the vegetable stuff. He had time to watch. He had time to watch boxing with you and all that. I want you to talk to fathers who are very busy, because these days, you know, fathers become so busy that they find it hard creating that time. So my question is, reading your profile, sir, you are president this, member this, founder this, proprietor that, and it's almost like all those things are your real babies. You know, all the things that were called, because certainly they'll take your time. And, you know, being the president of a school, your students, everybody wants your attention. Being the head of cabinet at Church of God, everybody wants your attention. So how, as a father, how do you create time to mirror? How do you create time to clearly communicate? How do you create time to be present in the life of your children? I think some parents or some fathers will be struggling with this because, you know, people are looking at the economy. They want to work more, do more businesses, get more engaged. How do we, in the midst of all this busy schedule, be present in the life of our children?
Okay, great question. Well, let me just say that my father didn't cook every week. You know, like my father was cooking every week or every day. It's okay. I'm saying the reason why I remember it so clearly is because it was so out of the ordinary. We had a cook. He had a cook that would cook for us most of the time. So it wasn't like he was always cooking in the kitchen and doing all the things he was doing. Now, this is what I want to say about how do you find the time? I think your real question is how do you find the time to do some of these three things? It's important that I think for fathers especially that you try your best to create the time because it's important that you do certain things intentionally. So why you have a whole day to do that? So for example, what I do for my children, when as growing up, I used to make it a point that I would do school run with them. Okay, why? So I had a meeting whatever time. My first meeting was at 8 o'clock in the morning usually. So I'll make sure that between that 6:15, whatever time we wake up, and time to go to school, I would make sure I want to be the one that would take them to school. Okay, because I remember when I was growing up, my driver, our driver took us to school. So I said, okay, I don't want to be my driver that takes my children to school all the time. It should be me. Let them remember me as the one taking them to school. So I'll be in the car with them. The driver, of course, will still drive, but in the car. So while we're driving, we'll do some kind of lesson. We'll watch a video. We'll watch. There was time when the movie Sing came out. We watched Sing over and over and over again because they were still young then. I knew all the songs in Sing. We'll sing it together. And as they grow up, they have different things that they like. But now my children right now they're not in Nigeria, so I still make sure that I do school run with them. Now my father, when I was growing up, every day at 2 o'clock he would come home, and at 2 o'clock we would have lunch. Then he'd go back to the office or whatever he was doing. Now it's not now he was very busy, but if it was in Nigeria in Benin at 2 o'clock there would always be lunchtime. So by 2 o'clock we'd come back home. He would have guests, but we would still be on the table with him. I remember there was one time. I think I was about 13 or something like that. I know when you're growing up, you love rice and stew. I took a big heaping spoon of rice and everything full. My father said, "Are you a gentleman, or are you trying to? Are you a glutton man?" Hey, God Almighty! I said, no, 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 no. So I cut it into two. I ate the small rice. Then when he left, I ate the rest of it. But now I grow up now. I can't. I eat like maybe this much rice, very tiny bit. So I've grown up. But my point is that he took a time every day to be at home for lunch. Then go back to work. So he would do all of his busy things. He would still do. But that time for lunch was one that we remember. Now that's one of my sisters and I all remember that. At least every day at 2 o'clock, he would come back home for lunch. So I remember that. So what I suggest to do for you as well to pick something. For me right now, my children are not in the country. So when they're doing school run, my wife and I will turn on the video. We'll do a WhatsApp call or a FaceTime call or whatever time it is, and we'll just do the run from the house to school together. We'll pray, we'll talk. It's like it's going to be a good day for you. When I'm in the States there with them, when I'm in the States with them, I'll make sure I'm in the car with them going to school together. That's us creating memories by intention. So I'll suggest the same thing for you. If it means time at dinner time, if it means maybe in the evening, most parents now will just come in. Okay, we'll just sit down. Okay, you eat over here. Create a time when you can all come together on the table, and then for that 1 hour that you're on the table, this is your thing. This is your thing here. Put it down, turn it off for that 1 hour, and give them your attention. There's people suggest playing a game like saying, okay, what was the best part of your day? And they'll say, okay, well, we do a thing when we have dinner called high-low. Okay, what was your high today? It was this. What was your low today? Was this. Okay, and that was it. I read someone else say one time, it's up to the kids to say, okay, at the table they'll say who had the biggest high of the day, and there'll be a competition. And whoever won had the biggest high will get $1. You won't have a lot of money, but you get $1. And so it's not about the money; it's about the fact that we're all thinking, okay, I want to make sure I share something about my day. And that's what actually builds those bonds. Now you can say, okay, once dinner time is over, you go to work, but they'll remember that dinner. So how do you make time? How do you find time? You have to create the time. Create time in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, but create at least some time that you give to your children intentionally.
Thank you so
Hope that
much.
helps.
Just,
No problem.
yes, it helps, but just an extension. CD Drugs from Abuja is still on this question. He's separated from his wife, and he
Hmm.
is still wondering how can he be present in the life of his children now that he's separated?
Great question. For that one, I would that's something that has to do with you and your. I don't know your situation, so I can't speak to it specifically. But I would suggest, ask ask the mother of your children or your ex, whatever that situation is. Ask her. I want to be involved. I want to be a part of my children's lives because everyone has a different situation. I don't know if it's something if you guys speak or don't speak, or whatever it is. Ask, how can I be involved? And that will be the best answer. She will tell you if you're separated. The best person that will tell you that is your spouse or your ex-spouse or your partner. They'll tell you this how you can be involved. Okay, maybe you can come once a week. I don't know what the situation is, but the best answer would be to ask the partner and then ask the children. How can I would like to be present more. What would you like me to do more? Come more, or call me more, or do something. Sending money is not the only thing you can do. But I think presence is very important. So I think the answer for that one, I don't know the situation because everyone's different. My best answer will be ask. Just ask. What's the best way for me to be present for you?
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that. Ask. Yes, and that's that also comes down to the clear, compassionate communication. Yes, that's not just also to the children. We also need to practice that. So American Fitness here is asking, it says, I have been out of job for some time, and please, I have a son that usually is asking, Daddy, why are you not going to the office like mom? What would you advise this father to do?
Great question again. One of the things you probably do is talk about how, one of the things I want to do is that I'm right now making sure I spend time with you to help you as you're growing up. I don't know how old your child is, but I'm being at home right now to make sure I'm with you as you're growing up. I want to be there to help you. So while mom is going to the office to do some things, we have made a choice that right now I'm helping to be at home with you as children. Very, very soon, I'll start going to the office again soon. But until that time, I'm making an intention to be here with you. Hello. See, that's intentional parenting right there. I like that. See, there you go. Nice. In those days, I'll tell you, come on, live yet. You see, you gave her a hug. Okay, let's just move to the side. And you continue. That's been intentional parents. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
I saw you give your wife eye. I saw that. I saw you. Don't worry, I saw you. When you cry, wait, no, honey, I want sex. Well, okay, see, I have a story about that. Continue. No, continue. Let me tell my story about doing that. Okay, I have a story about I think the lady was she was one of the heads of a big corporation. I think it was Apple, and she was doing a live feed with her staff all around the world, so from Africa to Asia, different places, and South America. And as she was doing a feed, her child came on stage and asked a question. And she said, excuse me for a minute. She asked the child the question. Okay, please, mommy's on screen. And then she continued. But she said that thing made a big difference for the staff around the world, not just in America, but around the world, because they said, wow, so you can still be a parent. It was during COVID, and still be and still show us that you are a human being. Because they were feeling like, okay, I can't be human, I have to be perfect. They said, no, don't have to be perfect. All of us have children that are just off the screen somewhere. All of us did during COVID. We're off the screen somewhere. But the fact that you can say, okay, just a minute, and move away and continue, showed us that it's okay for us to be human. So well done, Coach Shunu. It's okay for us to be human. Thank you.
Yes, it's okay for us to be human. And there's a question. It's like the question just falls back to back, and this is now seen from the same person. Can a father tell the children something wrong because of some adult questions they ask? Sometimes it's hard to just tell children, this may be right, this may be wrong, so can a father really do that? Let me add to that.
Yeah, add to it. Go ahead.
Let me add to the question. Can you tell your children that you are wrong? Some of us, our parents were 100% right. Our parents were 100%. They were carrying first. They were always carrying first. They're always the best.
So, and they trek to school both ways. They all tell them they trek to school with no shoes. I think it's important that we the way you tell them that is also important. But I think it's good that, yes, say, hey, I made a mistake. We're going to try this way instead. It's okay to do that. You can tell your parents that you were wrong. You can tell your children that you were wrong, because they need to understand that you are a human being, and they will be human beings as well too. If you pretend you're perfect and you're right all the time, when they find out you were wrong, it will affect them, and they will even remind you one day that, yeah, daddy will tell us lie or something like that. So it's good that you let them know you're a human. So yes, I think you can tell your parents, you can tell your children that you made a mistake. Say, hey, daddy made a mistake. This is how we're going to fix it. Mommy and I did this particular thing. We need to, we're having some issues. That they will understand parts as they grow. Now, the question was, can they tell your children something wrong? Maybe yes, you can tell them you made a mistake. If they ask you a question as an adult question, maybe the question, maybe when the child is 3 years old, asking where do babies come from? I think the things asking about sex. Just try to gauge where their mind is. Well, babies come from heaven, from God, at 3 years old. Now, when they're 6, 7, and 8, you can give more details, because at that point now, they probably even heard it in school before you as well. So just sort of gauge their children. I think that maybe that's a question about, can you tell kids, if they ask you an adult question, gauge where their mind is, and then just kind of start with the basics and then go from there.
Okay, and the final question for this session by Peter Aigba says, I work many distance from home and sparingly spend time with my family despite regular communication, but I have a firm conviction that my boys are not happy. How best will such situations be managed?
Okay, another question again. I would suggest for you, I don't know what your suggestion is again, but I would suggest the same thing again. If you think your boys are not happy, talk to them. If you spend a lot of time away from home, just kind of say, daddy is spending some time right now away from home, and I want to spend more time with you. I want to do some things more. How can I do it better? What do you think I can do better? Your children are actually very intuitive. They'll try some things. But I think one thing we need to realize is this: we can't always be perfect. There'll be times when you have to work far from home, or when you have to work a lot. There's a book by Guy Papasan and Jay. There's a book called The One Thing by Guy Papasan. I would suggest you get that book. And inside there, it talks about how the work-life balance is a fallacy, where we talk about how we must always balance life and work. And it says sometimes in life, things may be imbalanced for a while. So maybe, for example, right now you're working a lot, but you're going to do that. You're going to try to work and fix that. You're working for a lot for a short amount of time so you can do something. Tell your children that, look, I'm working a bit right now, but I'm going to do my best. After this 6-month period, after this time, I'm going to work to change that so I can spend more time with you. So let me give you an example. When I was working on my PhD, I had to work on my thesis, and it took a lot of time for me. So I told my wife, honey, for these next few weeks or these next 2 months, I'm going to be working very hard on my PhD. I'll spend a little bit less time with you, but I will make it up to you. Okay, so forgive me. I want to spend some time so I can get this thing done quickly. And she understood. And so I got it done. And then for sure, your wife and you'll make sure you make it up to them. When the time was done, I had to make it up to them. So there'll be times when you need to spend more time on this side, or more time on this, or more time on that. And it's okay, just as long as you understand that that's part of that thing. Work and life will never really be balanced like that. There'll be times when some maybe have to spend more time doing this, or spend more time doing this. But try your best to do some different things. My point for that one is this: the reason why you play on a seesaw, the seesaw on the playground, is because it's never really balanced. That's why you enjoy the seesaw. It's never balanced. If it was balanced, you wouldn't enjoy it. So there has to be a time when this is up, and that. So same thing with life as well too. There's never going to be a work-life balance. There's only times when things will be off this way or off that way. But as long as you realize that it's going off this way, then you balance it by going back that way. It's going back the other way again, you come back by going that way. And you're trying to find a way to make sure that you give more time to your children at some time, give more time to your work, give more time to different things. That's how you make life work, okay? These are my thoughts.
Wow.
I hope that helps.
Oh, wow. That's very insightful. I never thought about it. We've been trying to create the balance, and we've been worried with the fact that, life actually is fluid when that movement is there.
It's fluid, always fluid. That's how we enjoy it, because things move up and down. They move, yeah.
So we were to round up with that question, but there's one question I saw I want to go back to, and I think it's critical we talk a bit about that. EFC or something says, I grew up as a traumatized boy. This is about trauma, and it's affecting his relationship with his boys. How can he manage that? That's the simple question. How do you manage the trauma you're living with that's affecting the relationship with your boys?
Wow. Trauma comes out in so many different ways. This one I would suggest that you talk to somebody about it, because it's nothing that you can't really give an answer in 5 minutes or in 2 minutes. I will kind of just clear that up. That was this is how it is. So I would suggest that you talk to someone about it, because trauma comes out in different ways. Trauma can come out in the way you speak to your children, can come out in the way you do different things. But my point I want to say that I think will help you the most is this. You grew up and there was trauma. I think recognizing the trauma that you saw right now is the biggest thing. If you recognize it, then you do your best to say, okay, I want to intentionally break a pattern. Like I told you about the stack of Naira notes or dollar bills. They follow in a sequence. So one trauma will birth another trauma, birth another thing. We'll do those kind of things. So you have to find ways to say, I want to be intentional about breaking the sequence, or intentional about breaking a pattern. So I don't know exactly what happened, but same thing again. I would suggest, first of all, talk to somebody about it. Talk to a professional, talk to a pastor, talk to someone that can kind of help you identify the trauma and see what is it causing in your relationship with your children. But I think the biggest thing that you've done, I want to applaud you for that, is you recognize that. And when you recognize that, you're already halfway through solving the problem. So talk to someone about it. Pray about it, of course. As a pastor, I would suggest you also pray about it as well too. Learn about it. So pray about it, learn about the trauma, talk to someone about it. Those are things I would suggest. And then learn about how because those things will shape you and shape your future. So it's important that you do those things, which is what Coach Wendy was saying in the beginning, that you intentionally gather information about being a parent, learn about things. It will help you in the future.
Thank you. A million thank you to Bishop Fair. Please help me show your appreciations one more time to our guest for today, Bishop Faith Emmanuel Benson, and that's the full name for those of you who didn't get it at the beginning. Yes, and this is one of our take-home statements. He said this during the session. He said that you should decide to be the best father that your child will ever experience. And that's my take-home, that I'll be, and I want you to please put that in the chat, that I'll be the best father. If you're a mother watching this, you can also say, I'll be the best mother. Welcome to the Fathers Conference. Please put that in the chat, that I'll be the best father my children will ever experience. And go back and ensure you replay this. There's another session coming after this. Please don't go so far from your device. Just go take early dinner and charge yourself up. I just want to once again say, on behalf of the convener of this conference, the amazing firebrand coach Wendy Ologe, thank you for joining us this evening from wherever you're watching. Thank you for engaging in the comments, and help me once again thank our amazing guests, the very humble Bishop Feb. Yes, it's going to be wow, so simple like that. You know, the kind of anointing that Bishop Feb carries is not the one that will slay you in church. It's when you get home, it will slay you. The kind of slaying that will keep you going, going and going. Thank you so much. Please ensure that, like also Bishop Feb recommend, I am also recommending you need to be a part. I am a yada in the Intentional Parents Academy. That's very interesting. I'm a coach, but I'm also a student, but learning never ends. So please, there's the screen, there's the information on the screen grab this, copy it, whatever you need to do, and enjoy. You'll be so shocked the value you'll be getting for just 100,000 naira. I've attended trainings for 5 days that are like triple this cost, but this is for the whole year. It is a gift that the intentional parenting is giving to you, courtesy Coach Wendy Ologe. Once again, thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure to be your host. I'm Coach TJ Juno, one of the best fathers here. And I remember myself and we were supposed to do a diaper challenge that we never had. And that's kind of the fathers should be having. Fathering is fun. Thank you for being an inspiration to us. I wish everyone happy Father's Day. Good night and God bless you.
All right, God bless. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chizuru Mbazwigwe. I've been in TIP for the TIP Academy for 2 years now, and I've attended the Fathers Conference for 3 times. That's 3 years, and I must say this is really what we need this time. I don't know what is going on with you there as fathers. I'm actually speaking to fathers. If you are a father and you really, really believe that you're a father, then you need to find your way to be in TIP Academy. Honestly speaking, because it doesn't matter. Whatever you think you know, beautiful. Bring your knowledge. Come to TIP Academy so that you can meet other people also who know. And it makes it easier, because this time we know that there's a popular saying that it takes a village to raise, a child. In other words, you don't raise a child alone. You need to be in conjunction with other useful people to be able to raise a child. So what are you waiting? You don't need to stay there. TIP offers you a lot of knowledge and practical knowledge to be able to know what to do, especially in this time. Parenting has never been difficult as it is this time. And I can tell you, TIP has made it much easier for me, especially having the ability to connect with your children. This is one of the most difficult things that, fathers have been having. It looks like our work is to go out there, make money, buy all the good things, give them a good apartment, buy a good car and pay their school fees and stuff like that. But it's beyond that. You need to connect to your children, because this is the time we need to know what is happening in the life of our children and be able to help them and guide them. So this TIP Fathers Conference is very important. We attend it, but more importantly, make it a decision. Make a decision to be in TIP Academy, and God will bless you. Thank you, and God bless you. Long live TIP.